Well, good evening, pulling fans. I'm kind of looking over here to the side, and it's not showing us live on YouTube, but
It's
the
showing.
stream's live. So, is it showing live for you, Dwayne,
Yep.
on
One
YouTube?
minute in.
Okay.
Not. I'm not on YouTube, but it's showing that we're live.
Okay. Let me check into that because I'm looking over here on my other screen. It's not showing. Just 1 second. We'll get everybody introduced and get going. I just want to make sure we're good to go here. Never a dull moment. If anybody's in chat, if you could let us know if you can see it or do not see it.
Sorry. Skip. It's live. It's live on my YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I just logged in on YouTube and it came live.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Okay. Anyway, we got something a little different for y'all tonight. We got the National Micro Mini Tractor Pullers Association. I guess is the proper terminology for that. Anyway, I'm reading the chat, and you're going to get well versed. These are guys that's been doing it for quite a while. Um, it's pretty cool stuff. Pretty neat tabletop pulling, if you want to call it that. I guess that's kind of a cheap way of saying it, so to speak. But we'll get you introduced to everybody. Dwayne, how are you doing, mate, buddy? Our co-host.
I'm doing really good. Pretty excited about this tonight. Hoping to learn something that I didn't know before.
Yeah, something new, man. It's pretty cool. It's one of those things. If you like pulling, it's something different, and it's unique. Some of the engineering in these things are really awesome, and it makes some pretty good little power. I'm telling you, they do pretty good. And we'll start right over here to Dwayne's that way to his whatever. Everything's backwards on here compared to the way you said it.
My finger
We
got
got
cut off.
13 motorsports. We got Richard Barrett and Scott Jones, aka Eddie, as Richard likes to call him. But Richard, we'll start with you. I know you're from Cockeysville, Maryland. How many years have you been pulling, Richard?
A lot of years. Since 1980 is the first time I was
1980.
introduced in 1980, and I went to a 4-H fair, and actually Raymond, who is with us tonight, he was one of the pullers that I met there, and of course I was about 10 years older than all the guys that were in the 4-H pulling, but I thought that this was so fantastic that it was just something that I was very interested in getting into, and it took a little while to try to get up to speed with what these guys were doing and pulling, because I don't know, everything I tried and had to learn seemed like it wasn't working. So as time goes on, like probably a year or so, I was involved in it, and then I finally started to, I think, win my first pull ever. And then once you start winning, it just gives you more incentive to get more involved in the pulling.
It's an addiction.
So it's a good incentive when you're winning.
Oh, sure. I'm sure it is. That's awesome. How many vehicles do you currently pull? I know there's trucks and tractors alike.
I probably have right now. I probably have about 8 vehicles.
8 vehicles.
Yeah, we've got different classes, and then I usually run 2 pro stocks, and there's a pro stock class, 3-pound pro, 5-pound pro, and and that was always been the class that I really enjoy the most, especially the 3-pound class. It was always, because that was the hardest one to sort of I don't know, overcome all the adversities, within the 3-pound, staying within 3 pounds and getting it to pull and hook up and whatnot. That's always been the class that I thought was the most fun for me anyway. But then I have a super stock class. I've got 2, and I've got an open tractor, and I just bought a semi truck, which I haven't pulled yet in that class, but this is the first year for me, and I have Jay Lurbs' old semi that I just bought from Scott, so I'm going to try that this weekend. Thanks, Jay Lurbs.
Cool deal.
Well, it moved to another good home.
So I'm excited about that. So anyway, but yeah, like over the years, I've had a lot of different tractors and different pieces, and sort of scrap those and then build new ones or buy other ones and move on. But the 4x4 classes I've got two 4x4 trucks, and they're really one of my favorite classes. The 4x4 class now, enjoy that class a lot.
So if I say, what is your favorite pulling vehicle that you have? Is that going to be one of your trucks, or?
Well, I'd say the 4x4 and 3 pound. 3 pound pro stock is still my favorite class to pull in, and it's the lightest class, and it's still the most challenging, I think.
Yeah.
And it's getting more challenging since we are having problems with getting motors. But anyway, I would say that's my favorite. That, and then the open class is fun also, but I don't know. I always found that to be somewhat challenging, but it's my favorite is the 3 pound pro stock class, which nobody probably knows that much about it, but we'll
I do.
talk about that some more, as the night goes
Isn't that
on.
the class I got disqualified in one year?
Yeah, the 3 pound 1 ounce class.
Yes, I did.
How many
And it
years
wasn't
did
on
you
my
pull?
doings. Well, I pulled once, and I got disqualified and never pulled again. Thank you, Chris Rabb. Thank you, Chris Rabb, if you're watching. But anyway, Scott Jones.
Yes, sir.
Scott, I've known Scott Jones. My goodness, went to school together. Many, many years have known the families. His mom, my dad went to school together way back in the day. And Scott Jones, man, he's from right here. Well, he's Wyford bound. We go on the other side of 136 that turns to Wyford. How many years you been pulling, man? I know it's been a long time.
Since 83.
Since 1983. Okay.
Mhm.
And how many pullers do you have
Running?
that are currently running?
About 12.
12. Wow. How many do you have in the whole brigade?
50.
Goodness.
Wow.
So
No, I got
you
about
have
4 that I'm working on, trying to get straightened out, but I got about 10 or 12 that I'm campaigning.
Brother Blaylock from our
Mhm.
Bigfoot show on Tuesday nights is here. Welcome aboard, David.
We'll find out.
This
if
is cool,
Blaylock-
David. We're pulling here, but this is something totally different.
Got to
Pretty cool.
find out if Brother Blaylock's holding his hat down. They're getting hammered on the West Coast too.
Yeah, he's out in Oregon. Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
So, what's your favorite class, Scotty?
2-wheel drive and semi.
Two-wheel drive. I guarantee it's semi. He's got
Yeah,
quite a
semi.
piece that we'll see Saturday night running. Now, tell us a little bit about the Saturday night event you got coming up, real quick, before we get to the others here.
Well, we're pulling up at Dave Greek shop, 4 o'clock till probably 6 or so. And then we'll do some testing tuning after the fact. All of our standard classes, experiment with the electric tractor a little bit, and just enjoying ourselves.
Electric.
Trying to keep it kind of a laid back pull. We're not real hardcore about it.
Okay.
So what's the deal? You have a Tesla tractor.
Yeah.
Tell them about the electric classes.
Yeah. Tell us a little
Something
bit
new.
about that. Enlighten us on the electric stuff.
Well, it's something we've been looking into, trying to find an alternative because trying to bring other people on board, and also because of the motor issues and whatnot. So it's just standard pro stock tractor that we run, but I've got 12-turn Titan motor in it. So it turns 28,000 RPM, geared 115 to 1. And we're experimenting with it. It does better here than it did when I was out west because we pull a little bit different here. You all have a drop pan.
Yeah.
We have a dead pan, so I got more preload. So when we do the preload, it runs like a scared cat. With no preload, it just wants to sit there and hammer. But we're still tuning it in a little bit. Also helps to get some decent tires. I got one set of tires that will not work no matter what I do to them. Once I have super pull, those tires will not work. I don't know why. They feel good, they look good, but they won't hook.
Yeah, Brother Blaylock just posted that he had 85-mile-per-hour winds. That's quite some gusty winds.
They do. They can sit on that West Coast, comes ripping through there, man. It's crazy. down through
Well, just changing the subject again to Scott, I guess the battery powered stuff is going to be, there's a little bit more of that type of stuff around, and that might be something that the younger generation will pick up.
Well, we're just tinkering with it right now, just looking at it. We haven't really set anything in stone yet, but that's what we're looking towards.
I understand.
Because they have electric class for the 4-H, it's a little bit different setup. We're trying to get a crossover where, you know, that's their first step into our realm.
Mm-hmm.
We had this is off topic a little bit, still pulling it. A garden tractor pull at Keystone Nationals 2013, 2014 time frame. There was an electric garden tractor. And that thing was amazing. The amount of tire speed, wheel speed, I could not believe it when that thing come up the track. I was like, holy cow, man. I mean, he was turning the tires harder than the gasoline tractors were. I was quite impressed. But that was unique. That's cool. Okay, Scott. And Scott's responsible for putting all this together, getting these guys in here. And we're going to move to the Midwest here real quick. And we're going to, well, originally from the Midwest is Todd Coulter, who, lucky him, was a full-time RVer. But
I wouldn't
tell
say
us all
too
about
lucky.
Todd Coulter. How's Todd?
Doing fine. Thank you. Yeah, so I originally from Indiana, and that's where I actually got started in the sport, was in Indiana. And as Scott indicated, there was a 4-H project in the county where I resided in Indiana, and started out as an electric, and then after 3 years electric polling, then it went to a fuel powered, and that's where it kind of graduated the kids up into what the national micro tractor pullers are doing nationwide. So that's what got me hooked into it, and then I transplanted to Iowa for my work, and then I hooked up with the people out there, which is Ed and Jay and some others within the association, and I work virtually, so I'm still working full time, and I'm able to basically reside wherever my camper's parked. But no, I've been involved since 2004, pulling tractors, and my stepson and myself did it as a 4-H project, and then we also go to the national polls there in Indiana. I think I never went to any in Ohio, but I went to some in Illinois, and I had a rule that I'd only travel like maybe 2 or 3 hours. And then they expanded to 4 hours, then they expanded to 5 hours. And so makes for a long day when you go 5 hours one way and spend 3 to 4 hours pulling and drive 5 hours back. So
How many pullers do you currently run?
So as Scott puts it, I've got 8 that are running, and I've got about 9 or 10 total, and I got a lot of parts in a box that could make another one if I needed to.
And your favorite?
So, my favorite, and just like they say, it's always your favorite because you do well in that class. I enjoy the 2-wheel drive truck class. I have been competitive in that one. I've done well in different years, and then there's years that I don't do so well. And that's kind of the beauty of the whole sport, is that I can do well today, and we have a class or a poll tomorrow, and it's a whole different story the next day, even from morning to afternoon. So it's you can walk in thinking, I got this wrapped up, I'm going to do really well, and then you walk out with your tail between your legs.
We all know.
Yeah,
before lunch,
exactly.
and after lunch.
Yep.
Ed, you're next.
Oh.
How's Ed? You're the one everybody's been picking on, kind of, sort of. So.
Yeah. Got broad shoulders. I could take it.
There you go. Tell us where you're from and all that good stuff.
I'm from South Central Minnesota, a little town called St. James, in between so-called Mankato, or you say the Twin Cities, and Worthington. So, yeah, when I first got interested in it, was back in 1976 up in Lake Crystal, Minnesota. We had a deal that Marlin Bus was putting on. He called it Farm Fest. And that was our first sanctioned pull that they had. And Bill Neal put it on up there. He used to be our president of the organization and that. And yeah, that was the first time. And then it was about 2 years later, of 76, in 1978 is when I bought my first AMD drive line. and made my own tractor, which I still got. And Jay gives me crap about it. I named it Solid Junk. Still got it. It's sitting down on the shelf in my little so-called ed shed that we have. And I joined the organization roughly about 46 years ago. So been in there for quite a while. I took a little time off for a while. I was pulling V8 garden tractors for a while.
Okay.
So did that for a few years, and I got back into the micro minis again. And Jay, I think, was out of it for a while, and then after he seen that Ed Connell was getting his name back in the Polish Post, he decided, well, it's about time to start pulling again. So,
Well, heck yeah.
so what did we do? Lose a guy?
Yeah, Ray dropped off. He'll be back.
Oh, okay.
He's having some technical issues. Either that, or we made him mad because we're not talking about John Deere's yet.
Oh, okay. no. If you notice the color of my shirt, that's my tractors I pull. Ellis Chalmers.
You got a couple reds and a couple oranges here.
Alice too.
You still there, right?
Yeah.
So roughly, I got money about 17 in the 17 running rigs. I pull 13 of them. My grandson pulls 2 of them, and my son he pulls 2 of mine that I bought back in the day, and that. So we got quite a few tractors among us 3 guys. I got 3 generations pulling.
Definitely been pulling a lot of years so far. The longest, as far as the amount of years pulling, for sure. Awesome.
Yeah, no, I've had a good time doing it and that. So, yeah, you got any other questions?
Oh, we got plenty of, there'll be more questions coming your way. Don't worry.
All right then. Over to Jay.
Yep, we're going to Jay. Well, we can skip Jay now that you've done told all of his. No, just kidding.
Well, I'm Jay Lurbs out of St. Paul, Minnesota, and gosh, I started pulling in '84. That's when I met Ed for the first time at Farm Fest in Lake Crystal. I went and I seen an advertisement for a tractor. It came from Indiana. I loaded it up and hauled it down there. Never done it before, and Ed and everybody else took me under their wing, and I've been in it. Well, I left for 20 years. I pulled for 10, then I left for 20, and then I went off and pulled garden tractors, Elke garden tractors, and then I had light super stock that I pulled a NTPA for a little bit. Okay. The Brabeck's old tractor, but I switched it over to alcohol, and then realized I spent a lot of money on that and decided it was time to get out of that. And I looked at this stuff and I went, I can come back to this. So
I'm sure it's
a lot cheaper.
lot cheaper, a lot easier to haul around. You don't need the dually pickup and the enclosed trailer.
Yeah, exactly. How many tractors do you run?
Well, I had 14. I sold 2 of them here in about the last 3 months. I got more that I got on the bench building, so I'm always building something. So I usually have 14, two for each class.
Background noise from somebody.
Yeah, it's Ray. He's trying to get back in.
Oh, is he? Okay.
I'm almost there. So.
Oh, he's on your telephone. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
He was having the mic issue, so we just went live with the phones.
Yeah. I
forgot lost his picture now.
So, one of our last polls we had was the National Toy Show in Dyersville, Iowa.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome deal. The sport certainly, I'm sure, has evolved some engine-wise.
We can see you, Ray.
I found it kind of interesting. Yeah, I can really see you now. Oh, he's on his telephone. Okay.
Yeah.
It was good the way it was. I'll turn it back horizontal if you want.
Hey, Jamesy. Well, what happened?
We still can't hear you, but we can see you.
There he is.
There he is.
Just
There
like
you go.
that.
He
It
still
looks
can't-
better. Just can't
phone should-
understand it.
Yeah, his cell phone should pick him up now. Try hanging up, Scott, and let him talk. See if it
Right.
comes through his telephone.
All right, I'm gonna hang up real quick, Ray. We'll see if it works.
Get me another one.
Talk to us, Ray.
Hear me now?
Yeah.
I can hear you on the phone still.
Oh, you still on the phone? Okay.
How about Ray? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
We can
There
hear
you
too.
go.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, good,
Yeah,
good.
loud and
You're
clear.
on.
He's loud
Ah,
and clear. Yay!
Success.
Nice beard.
Jacob.
right there, sir. Leave it right there.
Yep, looks good.
I can hardly hear you.
Really? Don't turn it up too
Okay.
loud. We'll get feedback. Anyway, all right, Jay. Well, just hang loose, guys, because I'm sure the guy above Ed will have a million questions for you as well as me. But tell us about Ray
Okay.
Heindel. How's Ray doing tonight?
Don't think
That
he
would
heard
be
us.
you, Ray. Hi, Ray.
Hello. I can hardly hear you.
Okay. So he didn't hear my question, I guess then.
Yeah, tell us about your polling.
Well, started 1980. We started with a 4-H club here, about maybe 8 or 10 of us, and pretty much went from there. Been pulling ever since then. Not so much in the last few years, traveling and everything, but
How many vehicles do you have currently that you use to pull and run?
I think the count's 9, but not all of those are running. I don't even know what's running and what isn't at the moment.
Guess you'll find out Saturday, maybe, right?
Yeah, maybe.
10-4. So I guess one question I'm going to say what's unique about it is the track that you guys. I mean, there's various different tracks, and any one of you can jump in here, Scott. What's your preference for the surface, the finish, et cetera, et cetera? These are actual tabletop pullers. I know they do an RC style that's in the dirt, but these guys pull in a wooden type track. Just tell us a little bit about the structure of the track. Whoever wants to jump in there.
Well,
Don't everybody speak at once.
okay, no. We originally started out with so-called 2 foot by 16 foot long, and then I came up with a different type of a board, and all of a sudden it was 20 feet long, and somehow they brought into the rules to have a 24-foot table. So Jay's got a 24-foot table. Jim Adams has a 24. I think the guys down in Indiana and Illinois and that Ohio boys, they like the old 16-foot table.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Yeah, we still have 16s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Well, take a step back. When they first started pulling, they just pulled on a sheet of plywood, untreated.
Wow.
I got one of those tables yet.
Yep. They started on untreated table. Now everything's got usually 4 to 6 coats of polyurethane on it, and that's what the track is.
How about the
Well,
types of tire compounds?
When back in the day, well, I'm going to say back in so-called 90s and that, these tractors were a lot slower. I mean, they were a lot of them, the super stocks we call creepy crawlers, and that because they went so slow. But now with the gearing and everything, like I say, they're scaled down, 16 scaled tractors and that. But they're doing what the big boys do, the pro stocks and the modifieds and all that. They go for the wheel speed, and that's what we brought into it. And we think that the 16-foot table is more. It's better with the speed that we have to go with the 24-foot table. So at least I think it is.
So you're not allowed to use any kind of friction modifiers on the wheels, but you
Nope.
use the speed to create heat, to create friction.
Same as the big boys do.
Well,
Tire speed.
talking about tires. Okay, we'll start out with the Pro Stock class. They're actually a natural rubber tire. And of course, everybody's got a little secret to working them. You can't clean them with nothing but alcohol. And, you can't use any traction compound on them, but that's where you get your bite. When you get into the bigger classes, you're using a silicone rubber over foam, which you'd probably find the foam they'd use it in probably air conditioning units or something like that. And to make the tires, you put the silicone on with a sheet of glass on a lathe turning really slow. That's where we get the bite is from the bigger classes and the silicone, but the smaller classes are a natural rubber tire.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are asking about the compounds on the tires. That's what they are.
Yeah. So when Ed was talking about when you first started, it was actually the original tires that came on the toy tractor and cut down. So it's like a hard plastic. Is that right? I mean, how was that tire?
Well, it was, if you ever bought one of them 16 scale tractors, like from John Deere or International, they got that little lug tire on them back in the day. Well, what they did is they put it in a lathe and they flattened a flat surface, and that's how they went pulling originally.
Mm-hmm.
With just a plain flat surface. We even tried to do it in the dirt one time. That was on the 4th of July. We put lug tires on them. Those things don't pull worth a darn.
No.
Yeah.
No, and then well, with the compounds of the tires, you get into pulling. I don't know. I suppose we can get into the weight on what we're pulling with our tractors. I mean, everybody's going to ask that. You get around a 3-pound tractor, we're usually right around maybe 50 to 60 pounds on the sled.
Yeah, that's 50 to 60 pounds. That's 50 to 60 pounds on the sled, and the sled itself is going to weigh anywhere from 50 to 75 pounds, depending on whose sled it is.
You'd be amazed the amount of weight these things will pull. Scott, I want to bring up one incident real quick now that we're talking about that. And they're a mechanical style sled. The weight moves forward just like the big boys do.
Yep.
And now actually, we don't have one here, if I'm correct, but you guys out in the Midwest have drop pan sleds now. So I heard some talk about that before the show. That's pretty cool. I've not seen one of them, I don't think, have I, Scott? A drop pan in the micro mini world. I'm just used to like a Deadpool like we have here.
Right. We don't have one here. I'd like to get one, but the budget hasn't allowed that just yet.
Okay.
Well, one thing about with that drop pan and that, it's what I do is on my sled that Brad Romer, a friend of mine out in Albert Lee, Minnesota, he builds them in that. And we put springs in the back of it to hold the back end up just a little bit. And then that way, when they take off, they only have that little front part with the friction on the track. And as the weight transfers forward, it puts the whole pan, which is, what is that pan? About 12 inches long, Jay?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be about 12 to 14 inches.
And you got that full flat pan, when you're about halfway down the track, flat on the ground and that. So that makes a lot of difference as far as getting the sled to move and transferring the weight. Well, I tell you what, I pulled over in Lincoln, Nebraska, Terry Corey's pull. That one year we used his sled, and it was the old style sled in that with just a flat pan on the ground.
No, actually, Ed, that one had that was a runner sled that had the 2 1-inch strips underneath it. That's why I know you're going to that. We pulled 1,100 pounds in the semi class.
Well, no, I pulled that with my 6-pound hot rod that I had there, 18 inches long, the 6-pound hot rod. We had over 1,000 pounds of lead on the sled to pull.
What kind of friction materials on the bottom of the sled pan?
All it is polished steel.
Yep, just polished steel. No grouser bars. raise his heck with the track.
Yeah, but I was just curious because you're pulling on a highly polished polyurethane surface, and I was just curious. So polyurethane is a little bit tacky when it's warm, and when you put pressure on it, it should have a fair amount of grip.
It does. It makes a difference whether the track is cold or whether the track is warm.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that. I've seen a difference in that before in temperatures. Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
You sit there with the hair dryer and warm it up so you have good tack.
No. It's just you just do it in a nice warm building or out in the sun. It just depends on what where you're pulling, what time of year. Like last year, we were pulling at the shed there in January over at my boss's place there where I work, and it's getting pretty smoky in there. So we opened up the door, and it was the next 5 tractors that pulled that ran the sled out the end of there because the track cooled down that quick.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the wintertime there, in January. So yeah, that cooled down, and 5 tractors went boom, 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 boom out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I can't believe 1,100 pounds. That's crazy. What kind of horsepower? I'm going to go ahead and just jump into the semi truck. We'll call it the behemoth of your organizations because that's the heaviest. I'm sure. I know the open tractors have some pretty powerful little engines on them. Tell us about this new semi class. What they weigh and
7 pounds.
Horsepower. 7
7
pounds.
pound.
Okay.
7 pound semi. 7 pounds.
Okay. Pulling
7 pounds. The majority of the guys are they're starting to run the LRP motors, and they are on. I've read the pamphlet on them at 30% nitro. I think they're talking 4 1/4 horse.
Oh wow!
For that little motor, and then you got the guys we're running. Some of us are running 50% nitro in there, so you're figuring you might jack that up to 5 horse.
Yeah, but the thing you got to remember is 7 pounds with that horsepower pulling 1,100 pounds. That's
RPM is a big thing.
Yep.
It's like
RPM and torque. It's like big tractor pulling.
yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, with the new sleds, we're not pulling at 1,100 pounds anymore because of the way the van operates and everything, and the weight transfers. It's an entirely new game. So
we had a pool. I think it was
on the 24-foot track. The sled, the transfer actually tops out about 1 foot to 2 feet before you get to the full pull line. So by that point, all the weight's on the pan, and you're dragging it that last couple feet to get a full pull.
Mm-hmm.
As it disappears. Okay. I think, Scott, the pool I'm going to bring up, when Mark Gardner was still pulling,
Right.
I think we did a pool at Ray Heindale's garage, if I remember. And I remember loading the sled, just about all the weight that you guys had on that thing. And Mark still, in his modified, just blew it, open tractor, modified. Blew it out the end like there was nothing behind. I don't know how much weight that was. You had it figured out. I can't remember what it was. It was pretty impressive.
It was 800 or so, I think.
about 800 pounds. That's probably what we were pulling.
So that was pretty impressive. I mean, stopping, grabbing everything, and whoa, before we go off the end of the table. That thing had a head of steam.
Yeah, we hate when that happens, don't we, Richard?
We do hate it.
and it does happen, I'm sure, unfortunately.
So what do? You have a bunch of pillows that you stack on the floor at the end so you don't break your equipment?
Yeah, sure.
It just breaks it in half.
Well, the way I understand it, the driver of the tractor is guiding it so he can stop his tractor before it goes over the edge. Am I right?
Yep.
Or try?
Use
You can try to stop it.
U-shaped piece of plexiglass called a guide all.
Yeah, I think it's adrenaline too. You got to remember, just like driving the real ones, adrenaline. You got a good run going. You may forget about where the end of the table is real quick.
Oh yeah.
So,
If you lift early, you don't make it to the full pull. That happens too.
that's true.
Correct.
Yeah. Once that momentum's going, you want to make sure. Just. I'm sure a newbie can run one off the table pretty quick, but
well, even you old guys do. we were pulling at Power Progress Show. Was that what it was called, Todd?
Farm Progress Show.
Farm Progress Show.
Show down
Yep.
in by Boone, Iowa there.
Boone, Iowa.
And I was pulling my 2-wheel drive, 4-pound 2-wheel drive. And the gentleman forgot that the judge, he forgot to hook the transfer up. So I took off, and all of a sudden I had good traction, and I nailed the throttle, and all of a sudden I looked and it wasn't transferring. So I put my arm up, I slammed let go of the throttle, held the guide all up against the front end of the truck, and stopped it in time just before she went off the edge. So you get a good run going. You don't want to quit.
Well, you mentioned the Farm Progress Show in that incident. A couple of years before that, Ed, we had one. So Ross McGrew out of Southwest Iowa, he's got some unlimiteds, and when he starts them up, they have a unique sound to them, and you just know it's him coming with it. And he usually does pretty good. It's pretty quick. And he would go, and we would actually get people up there to, by the end of the track, to catch the sled and stop it because he's going so fast most of the time. And they forgot the same person. Keep that in mind, Ed. The same person forgot to connect the sled. Same thing happened, and by the time he realized what was going on, he was maybe 3/4 track, but he was going so fast, it was too late. He went off the end. He caught his tractor. They stopped the sled, and the sled reared up in the air and went over the back of his tractor and broke the seat off of the tractor. But he caught it, and then he came back to win the class. So,
Oh wow!
it was quite interesting. It was all caught on video, and it was just it happened in just a fraction of a moment, just real quick.
Yep.
It was that fast.
Yeah, when we redid our track a while back, we put an extra 5 foot on the end just as a runoff. It's still 16 foot. We just put an extra 5 foot of runoff on it so we could get them stopped. I dropped them on the ground.
Yeah.
So technically, you almost have a 24-foot track if you added 5 foot to it, right?
Technically speaking,
21.
Yes.
About 20 something. Yeah. Early
yeah.
20s.
Yeah.
It's a name that I know the Ross McGrew name. Dave Jodry, is he still pulling, or did he retire out? Or
He retired this last year.
did he? Okay.
Yep.
Yep. At our Super Pull, he hung her up. I bought one of his semis. So who else bought some stuff there?
I got a super stock.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. I know he had a model.
His good pulling semi, he wouldn't sell that one. He says
Harris's.
That one.
Yeah, Harris's in Ohio bought a couple, 3 of his units.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he did keep the one semi. He said he had too much time and too much into it and too much TLC and care. So he hung on to that one.
It still may go up for sale sooner or later.
Everything's for sale, Ed. You want mine?
Yeah. No, but I got a pair of tires you might want back.
Yeah.
Everything's for sale, but it's not on sale.
That's right. That's right.
I was gonna say, are you guys all millionaires too?
Yeah.
No.
No, my wife still has to work. I keep the wife working at John Deere, so I got bad habits.
Yeah.
Well, if I understand it right, Jay used to run a Light Pro. That was a little bit more expensive of a toy to run than
Yeah, light super stock. Oh yeah, burn a set of pistons. There goes $1,000.
Oh yeah, yeah. I recognize the name now. I remember you pulling, just through media and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've ever seen you actually pull. What was the name of your tractor?
It was the Country Dude.
That's right. Yeah, bring back. Yeah. Yep. Okay. I don't remember if I remember seeing it or not. It had to have been an indoor winter pool. So
since
I never made any winter pulls indoor with it, but it was mostly in Wisconsin here, Iowa, Minnesota.
Who ended up with that tractor?
They went up to Larry Wright up in Wisconsin, northwest Wisconsin.
Yeah, I remember watching that when it was a diesel way back in the day.
Yep.
Be darned.
Yeah, I was always outclassed with that tractor. I built all my own parts. I was old school, you know.
Okay, you had fun, right?
Oh yeah, yep. But now I'm having fun with this. I mean, I build a lot of stuff. Have a lot of fun.
Ray, one thing I didn't ask you was which one of your fleet is your favorite puller? A couple of you I didn't ask. I'm gonna ask that question.
What was that?
Which one of your pullers is your favorite? Is it your truck? Is it Big Bertha or?
Yeah, that or my 2-wheel drive, I'd say.
Okay, that's another 2-wheeler. Okay, how about Ed? Your
Oh,
favorite?
my favorite would be my one pickup and semi.
Okay, how about Jay?
Oh, I'd have to say it'd be probably that 4-engine unlimited, and a couple of my 5-pound pro stocks. They usually do real well no matter where I go.
Oh God, I wish some way I could have downloaded that video. I'd have played that video of that unlimited. It was pretty cool. I got to watch that today, this afternoon. It's pretty neat.
So, since I'm new to this here, is there tire size rules for each class?
Yes, there is. The pro stock class, you're allowed the black rubber tires, and I can't remember off the top of my head what the maximum diameter of them is.
4-inch.
4-inch. And then 2-wheel or 4-wheel drive, they're 3-inch by 1.5 wide. Oh, Ed's going to get the rule book.
Look at that.
There we go. Good job, Ed.
Yeah. That's how you guys just keep me around.
I
Yeah, we
figure
still
Scott
do-
Jones would know it by heart.
Watch
You
out,
know-
Ed.
Is that a recent?
look at
rule
it.
book? Let me see.
We need bigger print. But we need older.
Watch out, Ed. You open that up, you might burst into flames.
Yeah.
That's a 76.
Yeah.
2013
So,
orange.
Ain't no doubt about it. Okay, the pro
The
stock.
magnifying glass.
The pro stock is 1 5/8 by 4 1/4.
Mm-hmm.
The 2-wheel drive is 2.5 by 3.5. 2.5 2.5 wide, ain't it?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, by 3.5 high. The super stocks are 3-inch by 5-inch. The 4-wheel drive, they're 1.5 by 3-inch.
Yep.
Well, they say the unlimited has no limits, but that's false. I think they can only be 6 inches, 3 inches wide, 6 inches high.
that
Ain't
can be wider than
mistaken?
3.
They can be wider than 3.
Yeah.
Okay,
Open width, it used to say.
Okay, they could be any width. It's just that they can't be
6
over
inches
6 inches.
high.
Yeah. And semis are 3 by 3.
Cool. I was just kind of curious, like if your width of your tire, the less pounds per square inch you put on it, or does a wider tire help you with traction?
Depends on which class.
Yes.
Mhm.
The
Yep.
answer to that is yes, and it depends on how you prepare your tires, like Jay talked about earlier, and the type of rubber you put over the foam on the silicone tires. I mean, there's differences in how people work their tires or manage them, and different sizes. I've seen skinny tires outpull the wide tires. I've seen it the other way around. It just depends on how it's set up by the individual.
Well, watching the couple of videos that I've seen over the years, it looks to me like traction is the name of the game for the most part.
And hitch height.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. You got to watch your hitch
Get the
height.
balance right.
Yep.
And
Gotcha.
it-
Yeah,
it's,
I've
a
seen a
little
few.
bit. It's a little bit of math there. It is the traction and the hitch height, but you also got to have the power to maintain everything too. You can overpower the tire, you can underpower it. So it's a
gotcha.
combination of everything being aligned just right and smooth run.
So do you guys have a model engine dyno somewhere where you check the power of these things? Just kidding.
No,
Jay has one.
They do exist, but we don't have them.
But
I
you know,
wish.
it'd be kind of rough to put a dyno on it because I will let you have a little bit of information here. Is some of these little motors, like in the Pro Stocks, they run anything from 30 to 40,000 RPMs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you think about that as how many times per second, the 30,000 is that piston is bouncing up and down 500 times a second.
That's crazy.
At 40,000, it's 666.6666666. It's a whole bunch of sixes times a second. Yeah, that little thing is just a blur. I don't think you're going to find a dyno that's going to do them.
Mm-hmm. So is there are those engines prone to failure because of the speed and RPM? Are they pretty reliable?
That depends on how much alcohol you've been drinking.
No, they've gotten a lot more reliable. I mean, back in the old Cox, we used to use Cox airplane motors.
I still do.
Heck, those things were notorious for breaking connecting rods, and these motors seem to last quite a while.
That's cool.
Even
Well,
on
with the- with the Cox-
50% nitro.
But the Cox engines, remember, lean makes power. Lean makes speed and everything. But lean also wrecks a lot of stuff.
Yeah, in pulling here, lean is not your friend.
No, it ain't. All that thing has to do is burp, cough. You're done. I mean, the motor may light it back up, but you've already lost your momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, Scott. I remember Scott had one come apart up here at when you worked for Deer Creek, I believe it was back then.
Mm-hmm.
He was screaming, singing, coming up the track, and they just quit, or they make that grinding noise, and it all happens in split seconds. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
ooh, you get that ooh factor, man. You always
hear everybody in the pit go ooh when the engine's just running just nice and chipper, and all of a sudden it goes whoa.
Yep.
Everybody goes whoa.
That sounds expensive.
That sounds expensive.
Yeah, I've heard that probably out of others, but Scott, that one that Scott was running at the time up there, that's the one that stuck out to me. But, how about you got any pools coming up? I know Scott was talking about one this coming Saturday, which we're looking forward to. Is there anything in the Midwest or
Yeah,
you guys get the winter off?
December there's one up in Wisconsin, and with Steve Grau, one of our members. And there's
That's
another
the
one
7th
over
and 8th.
in 7th and 8th, and the Waterford, and then the following weekend is in Nebraska.
Lincoln,
Nebraska. Yep.
And then January 4th and 5th, I've got to put in the Pullers Post. I'll be the one here in Minnesota again to start out the new year.
Yep.
Pullers Post. That seems I remember that Pullers Post deal.
So does that mean that Todd's going to make a flying trip back out of Alabama or wherever he's at so he can join y'all?
Hell
I will.
no.
I will. Hell no. I will in March. I'll come up.
Yeah, when
March,
the weather gets warmer. Right.
Yeah. Well, no. March is our annual meeting where we have our Super Bowl, and that's the winners for each of the states and highest average points winners, best of the best, basically. Poll on Friday evening, and bragging rights is what that is, and then maybe a little payback for them. And then Saturday is the annual meeting, and we'll have an annual meeting poll. Everybody can poll then. So there'll be at least two tracks running, multiple classes run at the same time. It's a lot of chaos. Basically, everybody. Usually, you start at where you set all your equipment at. You start up your engines there and get them ready to go, and then take them up to the track. At the annual meeting poll, it's highly encouraged that you go up to the track and you set up there at a table close by, because you can be clear back in the far corner and start and get halfway up there, and somebody else is the track before you are, and you got to go back and redo it all again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a game, and it makes it a little bit easier to do. But that's interesting to watch, just for the fact that there's two tracks going, so there's always something. There's hardly any downtime, and that's in Iowa this year. I think we're going to be in the Jefferson, Iowa area, which will be in the website and on the Poller's Post once we get all the details planned out and finalized for that. March 21st, I think it is. Is that right?
I think so. Was that
Get a
Linda?
calendar pulled up.
March 21st, isn't that when Jim said?
Yep, March 21st
Yeah.
and 22nd.
Yep.
He's got a secretary in the background feeding him the information.
Yeah, she's our secretary.
Don't make the secretary mad.
Yeah.
Who's your current president of the club now?
Frank Andrew out of Collins, Iowa is the president now. Frank Andrews the president. Jim Adams out of Waukee, Iowa is the vice president.
Right.
Treasurer is Ross McGrew. Secretary is Linda Connell, Ed's wife.
Yep.
She's
Oh,
gonna
I
come
was
in.
right.
Yes.
Nice.
She's
Yes, I'm
someplace
sleeping
there.
with the secretary.
She's the brains of the gang, and then we
You're
have Joyce. What's her last name?
Elliot.
What's your last name? Elliot?
It-
Yeah.
Elliot. Yeah, Joyce Elliott. She's our webmaster. Who takes care of putting the post out.
So if Ed has a secretary in his back pocket, that means he has an advantage.
Yeah.
No, no, not
There
at
we go.
all.
Go to the pot.
she keeps him honest.
She says I gotta earn it.
I don't play
That's so
favorites.
good.
Yeah, just like Todd was saying, this year in March it'll be our 49th poll, and the 50th poll is going to be over up here in St. James, Minnesota. So I get to do the 50th. I did the 40th, the 45th, and now we're going to do the 50th. Then I think I'm going to put everything up for sale.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All 3 tables and
Yeah, right.
There used
Give you
to be
20
quite a
bucks,
bit of
Ed.
pools here in the East. I missed the East Coast Challenge. That was pretty good. A little bit of driving in one day. But
That was
pretty
fun.
Yeah.
That was
Scott
what,
Jones.
2004,
up.
2005,
Yeah, something like that.
2006.
It's been a while. Yeah. I have it all on video somewhere. I got during one of these cases here somewhere.
Yeah, we pulled in Southern Maryland in the morning. We pulled up in Pennsylvania in the evening, and Pennsylvania again the next day.
So 3 polls in a weekend.
And I believe, let's see, Butch Watson was here. Dave Jodry was here for
Yeah,
that.
they came to the first one,
Yeah.
and the Klossmers came to the second one.
Yep.
And that
So
was
is-
last we had of that.
Mhm.
And Heindel and Richard was kicking everybody's butts back then. So
I keep wanting to have 3 pulls in one day, but I haven't figured out how to pull it off yet. Delaware, Maryland, and Pennsylvania.
Three in one day.
Uh-huh.
That'd be a long day.
Yeah, very long day. We've done 2 in one day, and that's too much.
you don't understand
Well-
Scott Jones the way he thinks. So
So
make it
the
challenging.
farm we do the Farm Progress Show. We've been doing that since 2019, and that's 3 days back to back, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot by the time you get to the end of the week. Just
Yeah.
3 polls. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've
You
tried,
guys have
I've tried to figure out some way, Jay, to run 2 polls on Tuesday, 2 polls on Wednesday, and 1 poll on Thursday, and have 5 polls that week. But I always get that thumbs down from you guys.
yeah, Todd.
We would have a lot of broken tractors, is what we'd have.
Yes.
You guys have a preferred tire manufacturer? Do you guys do your own tire build or?
well, I do some of my own siliconing, but I've had the tires already pre-made. It seems like after a while, the silicone either gets faded out on the foam rubber tires and that, and or they tear, so you got to replace it. Or otherwise, you have those Jimmy Adams. It depends on what kind of mood you're in, So I've done some of my own re-siliconing.
I pretty much build all my own tires. all my silicone stuff. And then I kind of took over. Jim Adams was kind of the guru on the pro stock tires, hollowing them out, then truing them on a lathe, and then sanding them. He kind of turned that over to me. I basically got Todd back into the game with did a bunch of his tires this last year, and he's been like thrilled ever since.
Yeah, that it makes a truly a big difference. But what was really a big letdown was when I got the information that I had to replace all your hubs because your hubs were junk. I think that's quote unquote from Jay.
Well, you'd pulled so much, Todd, with them that they were wore out.
Yeah. So one of those sets of tires that you trued up for me have been pulling for 20 years.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So,
Jeez.
yes, they've been around the block a few times, and I started out with the full 1.25 inch wide and an 1 5/8 inch wide, and I carved it down to like 1 inch or 1.25 inch, and then I did some other stuff to it to try to lose some weight to get the 3 pound to make that a better pull, and then turn them inside out and hollowed them out and did a few things like that, and then my problem was they weren't perfectly round. I don't have a lathe, and Jay was graceful enough to help me out there and true them up so when they spin, they spin straight, not wobbly.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of unusual for you, Todd.
Yeah, that is. I didn't know what to do then.
Seems to me, I remember on one of the shows here in the East, one of you guys tore some back tires up really bad one time. I can't remember which one of yous it was. I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I remember. I can't.
Yeah, Jerry, do you mind if I try to show a picture of some of this so maybe people know what we're
please,
talking about?
Please. Right
Just share it right in here, and I'll put it up on the screen. Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna see if I can.
should be a present link down there at the bottom. You'll be able to load it up.
Share screen. Now, can you see my screen now, or how's that look?
I don't see anything here.
No, you look the same.
All right.
Well, you should share it
let's
into. If you look down below, do you see a thing that says present that you can click on?
It's right next to your settings and your.
Yeah, it's between
I do
settings
see
and
that.
invite.
Yep.
Yeah, click on that, and it should allow you to bring it in here, and then I'll put it up on the screen for you. It might do it for you.
The silicone used to make these tires, are you using like the same silicone that we use in construction, and then you form it to make?
Yeah, we're using. Some guys will use DAP. I prefer Dow Corning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you see that? Can you?
Yep, it's coming up
There
now.
it comes. Yep.
There you go.
Oh, my Massey.
That's your Massey. Yep.
Yeah.
That's not an Ertl hood either. That's all hand bent and
Oh wow.
So
machined out grill and all that.
we had talked about one of the original tractors. So that's one of the originals with the hard tires flattened out right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the gearbox underneath and the engine's inside there.
So on those tires, they have foam. The black part is foam, and the clear on the outside is the silicone.
Yes, that would be correct.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha. I'm understanding more of how they're designed and built. That's pretty
Robert
cool.
Johnson chassis, isn't it?
Yep.
I got one of them. I got to forget how to make it work now.
So is that your tractor you're talking about, Ed, that you pulled back in 1950?
No, that was my Massey.
That's a Massey.
As a Massey. I don't have that one. But there's one with the sled with the weight and two-wheel drive truck. And then you talked about the flat pan, Ed.
Yeah.
There's one where the tractor went a little wild and was going off the track.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Keep working at it, Todd. You'll get it.
Is it there?
Not
No,
yet.
I still see the Massey down here below in your spot. You might have to remove that and then put the other one in. Whoops.
Okay.
Okay.
So when it comes to building the transmissions for it, are you guys designing all your own gearing and everything to do your gear reduction?
Yeah, I usually sit down with a piece of paper and figure out gear ratios, and you can buy gears.
Okay.
You can buy gears, bearings, and you sit down and measure it all out and on paper, and then you take it in. Scott will tell you the same thing. You go in and set her up in the mill and get her all figured out and drill the holes, and hopefully you got everything. Your calculations are correct.
Yep. Sounds like a good winter hobby.
Yeah,
Now if you're going with the 4-shaft tractors, it's a little bit easier because you actually have some variation. Before you built it, if it was wrong, it was wrong.
yeah.
Start it over.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a fourth gear. You have a set. You can get in the ballpark and over and under drive till you find what you need.
I
Fine-tune
got
it.
you.
Yeah, and that the overdrive and underdrive system we're using, that was kind of that was thought up while actually taken from the sprint car world by another puller from up in the close to Fargo, Mark Danielson. He was at a sprint car show one night up in Fargo, and he went and was talking to some of the guys he knew, and he was looking at their quick change rear ends in their cars, and he got the idea that, hey, that might work in our toys.
Mhm.
And that was probably 30 years ago when he figured that out.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that really helped us out because now we can change gear ratios.
Make them go faster or slower just by a percentage wise.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
before
pretty
that, you
unique.
had to change your clutch bell and your head gear. It was the only way to get it. And
Yep. That was the old days.
well,
Slide the motor front, forward or back.
yep.
well, also in our on the AMDs there, you could go in on the side there instead of running a 956, you could put an 1154 on it, and that would speed them up too.
Yep.
On the AMDs there, that was a quick change there. Otherwise, you went a little bit bigger on your clutch bell and a little bit smaller on your main drive
There it
there.
is.
Oh yeah, there's originals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That would be original tractor. That's got the components from a Cox buggy in there underneath.
The old worm drive setup.
Yep, worm drive.
I was going to say, is that a screw drive?
Yep, that's a worm drive.
Yeah.
Worm gear drive.
Mm-hmm. And that would be the black rubber tires that are milled down.
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep, that's some of the first tractors right there. That would be one of the first tractors right there that ever pulled in the
Wow.
association.
That's awesome.
When they
And
checked
you've
those
seen the
tires on,
Massey.
I see the difference. Yeah.
that's a 2-wheel drive.
That looks like the Iowa State Fair.
Yep.
It is. And this is a while back at the Iowa State Fair. This is that flat pan I was telling you about on the sled. I realized what I was doing wrong on the sharing. This is the tractor was going wild and it came out of the guide on was headed off the track.
Mm-hmm.
Seen that before.
Yeah, man.
Remember,
They
I
don't
had a
mess-
chain brake one time when the pan slid back and flipped the tractor through the air.
I was going to say they don't mess around there. They had the tape measure connected to the sled already, so it's out there.
Yep, that's the old days.
4-wheel drive.
Always had to worry about kinking the tape, pushing the sled back.
Or if the
Yeah.
guy knew how to read a tape.
Yep.
Gave you the wrong footage.
Well, the one time I was pulling down there at old Floyd's pulled at one of the his fairs they had down there, and I ain't gonna mention it anymore. But the gentleman that was running the tape there, I don't know. I think he was dyslexic on some of his numbers. Anyway, we figured it out that the table wasn't that long.
He had you in for 30 foot. You only made it halfway down a 24-foot table.
No, Floyd only ran a 16-footer. So,
I gotcha.
yeah, the gentleman kind of read the tapes wrong.
Mm,
So that's why we got to double check. Now we use a laser.
hmm
Those are the 4-wheel drives.
That's
Yep.
pretty cool.
Is there anything you want to see that we haven't shown yet? I might be able to find it. Here's a group picture.
Oh, I recognize some
Is
people.
that when we
on
all
there.
had to go in for therapy?
That is when we had to go in for therapy.
That's our group photo.
Yeah, I see a couple familiar people there.
Is this your awards banquet? This is where everybody gets the
Yep.
Puller of the
Yeah,
Year
that'd be
award
that would have been in Wisconsin.
Yep, that's Wisconsin there.
and
Yep.
and the
Right.
points winner with a check for $5,000.
Yeah.
But
There was-
what?
yeah. I'd like to know who got that check.
Yeah, I would too.
Uh,
No, we did have one gentleman though. He had a perfect record. Whenever he went to pulling that with his semi, he got first place every time, and that's, as far as I know, is the only person that's at a perfect 12 average.
Oh, I see you
that guy right there,
in the back.
Brad Romer.
Brad Romer, yeah.
Yep.
That's
And
pretty cool.
here's a semi
Mhm.
with the foam and the silicone over the foam.
7-pound truck,
Yep.
16 inches from the center of the rear axle to the frontmost part of the bumper.
Okay. Center of the rear axle.
Yep.
I gotcha. Mostly built out of aluminum.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's pretty cool.
You have a picture of yours, Scott, available?
No, we're on Richard's computer. I don't have anything on there picture wise I can show.
I think you sent me some. I'll look back and see if I can find one quick while you guys are. Okay, we're back.
Hey, Jay,
Yeah.
that's 18 inches from the center of the rear axle to the frontmost part of it. 18 inches.
Well, I'm glad you read the rule book, Ed.
Hey, I thought so. I just
Testing you.
I got it right here. We need bigger print.
Testing you, Ed.
A couple more years, I won't be able to read it.
That's why you got Linda.
Yeah.
I actually did find some information online on the website. There's a little bit of limited information.
Oh boy, look out! You guys are in trouble now.
I'm double checking main specs after
Fact checking.
after I
Fact
yeah. After I ask about the tire sizes for the classes, I found a spot on the website that has what the weight is, the max engine displacement, and the tire size for each class.
Yep.
The about section.
Mm-hmm.
See, after every pull, the guy pulls, like if Jay gets done pulling his semi or whatever tractor it is, you got to take it over and you got to put it on the scale.
Okay.
Okay, you got a 7-pound semi. You can weigh 7 pounds, 0.05.
Nope. 7 pounds is 7 pounds, Ed.
Okay.
Is that right, Jerry?
Okay, then let's start doing that.
And
Yeah.
if I still pulled or whatever, I would
Then
protest
that
everything.
case, that's what we'll do here in St. James.
7 pounds is 7 pounds. It's in the rule book.
Okay, then that's what we're going to start doing from now on.
Okay.
And then what they got to do is take it off the scale and they got to set it down and you got to measure the hitch. All the hitches, maximum height has got to be what?
1
Inch and a quarter.
Inch and a quarter. Yeah. So, and if they don't, let's say that the thing kind of flipped up backwards and that, and they tweaked his hitch. Well, unfortunately, when he measures his hitch, it's a little over that inch and a quarter. Well, you get a DQ.
That's what happened to me at the National Toy Show.
Yep, I've been got with that too.
It is what it is. That's tractor pulling.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mhm.
If you blow up something, that's tractor pulling.
Yep.
Part of
Well,
the-
yep. Go ahead. Somebody was going to say something.
Don't mind me. I'm fishing for photos here. Real quick.
In big tractor pulling, the white line is normally the thing that gets the most people DQ'd.
Yeah, because they can't steer them. If you hit the brakes, you lose power. Well, we don't have
Yep.
brakes on these.
So
Yep.
most of the time, the DQs that we have are either they're overweight, or something happened on the track, or they forgot to remeasure because they changed their tires and maybe a hitch height.
Yep.
Now we do have a rule like that pink tractor that showed with the going off the edge of the track. If somebody goes to the edge because the speed we're going and the weight we're pulling on the sled, if the sled edge or a piece of the tractor goes off the edge of the track and they keep going, they're disqualified. If it flips out of the guide all and it goes sideways, they're stopped anyway, then they're stopped right there and it's measured at that point. So that's a DQ. That's a rule that's been implemented here in the past, 2 years, 3 years, something like that.
Yep.
So you can get disqualified going down the track as well. Even if a part falls off of the tractor, you're stopped at that point and measured there. You're not disqualified, but you're measured at that point. But anything that falls off the tractor or anything that happens, you got to pick all your pieces up and carry it over to the scales and weigh out and make sure that everything weighs under
I
the
got
weight
you.
limit.
And your
So-
weights that you use on your tractor just slide over pins and they can come off if the tractor's upset.
They could. Most of the time they'll put like a rubber hose or
Okay.
like a fuel line on it to kind of help hold them on, or they'll secure them with a rubber band or even nuts to tighten them down on there. And a lot of guys, you talk about how many units they have. Some guys will have a tractor set up for 3 pounds. They'll have another one set up for 5 pounds. So they're pretty much fixed and they're right there at that weight all the time.
I gotcha. Yeah.
And
I found some, Scott. Hang tight. I'll be putting them up here in a minute.
All right.
Robert is asking what the Facebook page or what is the website? The website is
Right here. NMMTPA. National
Pullers.
Micro Mini Tractor Pullers Association.
NMMTPApollers.com.
there you go. Yep. That's a pretty nice rule book there. That one was from when? 1980?
2013, it's orange, isn't it?
2017.
2017.
Yeah.
I was
Ed
just
still
pulling
pulls
this-
out. Ed still pulls out the paper one. We all look on our phones and look it up online.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just found the actual rule book.
He has a clay
It is on
tablet.
It is on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
clay tablet.
Is the print bigger?
If you zoom it
You
in,
can make it bigger.
yeah, it's on a PDF file. You can zoom it in.
Yep. We
That's
have a
pretty
list
cool.
on the website. There's a list also of all the former Super Bowl winners for each year. We've got a pro kid class for kids that are under 16 and under. They can come in and pull the 5 pound pro stock class, and if they attend 5 pulls and are the top points winner, then they earn the pro kid, and then the next year they're counted points wise against everybody else. We've got Carl Donner's back. He's a former puller, and what that is on engineering, right? I think Jay,
Yep.
and just the construction and build of them, and just
Best engineered.
best engineered. And then we've got a promoter of the year, which follows. Gosh, I didn't know his name. What?
Floyd.
Floyd Goucher. So it's the Floyd Goucher Award. So the individual that promotes the most pulls within a year earns that award. And there is kind of it's a chip in monetary thing that everybody's kind of pitches in the year before, a dollar amount, and then it's given to the winner the next year, and then whoever hosts the most polls. Now, if you have two of them, that say two people host the same number of polls, Then it goes to the number of members that polled at the polls, a total count to break the tie. So
I see.
a few things like that you can win besides just winning on the track.
Now that he walked away,
Hmm. Wow.
There you go.
That's
a
the
pro
electric.
stock.
That's the electric. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So-
that's the electric. That's right.
Where's the seat?
It's between the tires. There's
It's
a
there.
seat there between the tires.
Where's the steering wheel?
The steering wheel's the question.
Yeah.
You forgot to put a stack on it.
Yeah. The electric motor doesn't blow any smoke though.
Yeah.
If it does, then there's something wrong with it.
Right.
Huh?
The wires are hot.
Yeah.
Not good.
Running batteries.
On
He
the
comes
on the
back and-
homepage, on the homepage of our website, the homepage has a video of a gentleman that put one together. We left our annual meeting poll last year, or this spring, and he went home like the next day or two, had one put together and practice polled and videotaped it, and that's what you see on the homepage is an electric motor tractor polling, just as an example.
I see.
Talk to us, Scott.
That's the one that I had an amp that I brought home and changed it up a little bit. That's one I'm currently running. And as a 3-pound tractor, it's not happy. You weigh it up to 4 pounds, it does pretty well with the 5-pound weight behind it. It likes pretty little bit. It does all right. It's not overheating. It's not a problem. It's not terribly complicated. But we're still trying to establish what rules we want to have as far as any kind of limits, whatnot. But it's fun.
I think they were talking basically if we're gonna be looking at the electrics, we'll be looking more doing it with the 4 pounds.
Yeah, but I had the 5-pound weight on the sled. I ran the 5-pound class, and it did pretty well as a 5-pounder.
Oh,
The
okay.
3-pound class with no preload, it didn't want to. It just want to sit there and hammer and bang.
Yep. I
You saw
think
that
you
at
did
AMP.
that at our poll last year, didn't you?
Yeah, it wouldn't load. But as soon as you put preload to it, it would take off and go. So
Yeah.
5-pounder did pretty well as a 5-pound weight behind it with 4-pound tractor itself. The tractor now bare weighs 3 pounds. Then you got 8 ounces of battery, and then you got a couple of weights on it to get up to the 4 pounds.
Well, one thing about an electric motor, it's like with electric motors on any of these vehicles and that, as soon as you touch it, if it's a 2-horse motor, it's instantly at 2 horse, and it depends on how fast you want to spin the wheels.
Yes.
That's
the same motor assembly that we run in the dirt oval cars I play with. That's where I borrowed that from, just for the experimental purposes.
okay. Well, Steve Greil has got one made up in that, and I've been trying to get a hold of Brad Romer and head up to the cities and meet Jay, and I'm gonna build one, but I'm basically gonna use mine for tire tuning and everything.
Well, Steve Greil's built a monster, as he would expect Steve Greil to do. He's got a 9,000 kV motor. That thing turns 75,000 RPM.
Yep.
Yep.
The one I'm playing with at the moment, I got another motor I'm putting in. It's 4370 kV. It turns like 36,000. That's what I'm going to experiment with now. Try that.
Okay.
So, question is, on a motor, on an electric motor like that, do you have a speed controller, like kind of like a throttle that you can use to run it? Okay.
Yes.
Right. So the 4-H kids, that's the thing that like Scott alluded to at the beginning. The 4-H kids, it's just an on-off switch. They basically set it on the track. There's a battery on the sled, and they're connected to it, and they turn it on, and it's just like Ed said, it's just the full power, and it goes. And Kentucky runs the electric class as well, or they did anyway. And like what Scott's doing, they have the rheostat, the handle grip that they can variate the speed on it and make that work. And so that's some of the things we got to decide how we're going to incorporate this electric class, if we're going to do an electric class, to where it's not kicking the 4-H kids out where they can't pull and compete with us,
Right.
but yet still have that flexibility and find that happy medium between everything so we can make it work. And that's just some of the discussions we got to have and come up with and figure out if how we're going to make that work. And that's, we got to do that by March of this coming year.
Are you
Jerry,
still
is it
pretty
raining there
involved?
yet?
What's that?
Is it raining there yet? It's pouring here in Cockeysville.
I can't hear nothing.
It's pouring
I'd
here.
have
It'll be there
outside
soon.
Yeah, I know the winds. I heard some wind a little bit ago.
Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is does the sports still offer or bring in a lot of youth pullers? Or?
I'm not noticing. I notice it mostly us adults. You know how it is.
Yeah,
The
with
kids
the
play with it
fuel
till they're
powered
bored and they leave.
with the fuel powered engines, it's not as abundant of the younger generation kids coming in, but I think that's where we're thinking if we have the electric class, it might be more of an attraction. And then if they see the fuel powered, and there might be a striking interest to jump over to the fuel powered from the electric, or we just, as we find it harder and harder to find the engines for these smaller tractors, those classes might be electric.
Boy, how
So-
times change.
What
You're
is
gonna
the
make
Yeah.
you're gonna make Jim mad.
I know.
Robert says
but
it's
it's a
bad in the
fact
Middle
of fact.
River. We need to rain terrible here. I mean, it is parched.
Yeah.
What's the reason for the shortage in the engines? It's just not as popular anymore, so there's not as many of them being manufactured, or
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yep.
It gets getting hard to find 12s and 15s now. Everybody's going to 18s and 19s in as far as production.
my brothers are big into remote controlled airplanes, and I think over the years they've only ever had one that had an actual engine in it. The rest of them are all battery powered. So easy just to bring it back, plug it in the wall, and go again, and you don't have to do much maintenance.
Yep.
Look at that.
Hey, I know that one.
Yeah,
Yep.
there it is.
Yeah.
That's
Agreed.
got a Romer chassis, and then
Romer.
it's Romer chassis, and then it's LRP 32. It's been modified by Power Secrets, and that's a Dave Greek clone.
That's
Pressure
pretty
time.
cool.
Yes,
Pressure time.
yeah, pressure time. But this is now the pressure cooker because it's a little bit different.
So to make the bodies for them things, is that like a fiberglass or a plastic body?
That is a resin body. That is a Tommy, a globe liner. Well, actually, that's a night hauler. The globe liner is the cab over.
I actually have
Yeah.
another picture of it. With it.
Yeah, it's just kind of a generic cab, and you can make it. Well, actually, it had headlights on the fenders. I cut them off and filled the fenders, making it into a Peterbilt. I didn't want to make it a Western Star, and I didn't want to make it a Kenworth.
Mm-hmm.
So I opted to change that and change the grill a little bit. There's a group of people that plays with those things, and they just do some incredible stuff with those little trucks. 14th scale. They get power dump beds, everything else on them.
Wow. I've seen some of that remote controlled stuff on YouTube where they make some pretty detailed machinery that's small scale that they actually used and run.
Mm-hmm.
So does anybody use 3D printing to make parts, or is everybody too old for that?
No. The back of the cab on that semi is 3D printed. Problem with 3D printed is it cannot handle sunlight.
Oh,
That truck sat in the back of my truck. It worked. The sun came to the back and actually worked the back of the cab because 3D printed, it doesn't like heat. You got to be careful with it. But yeah, it does work. It does function.
I gotcha.
So Eric in Wisconsin, he's got a 3D printed hood for one of his John Deere tractors.
Okay.
It's okay for something static like that. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Details like toy sprint cars and all, they make a lot of 3D printed parts for detail.
That fancy truck there looks like it has some carbon fiber in the middle there.
Yeah, one little piece.
Fancy. And that there is limited to 7 pounds.
Yes, sir.
We'll see that Saturday, Dwayne, if you come down.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Not 7.05, 7 pounds.
Yep, 7 pounds, Ed. 7 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. You see the front tire on that thing? That's actual individual lug nuts and bolts and screws.
Oh.
There's
Oh,
a lot
wow.
of detail on the front wheels. Yeah, it took me about an hour to put the front wheels together.
I was going to say, it looks like somebody might have get sore eyes or sore fingers trying to get them things all together.
Well, look at the screws in the visor. Those are screws, not bolt bumps. That's actual screws into metal. Put them together with one of them doctor magnifying glass with the light around it. Everything is so damn small. And I'm so damn blind too.
It's pretty cool.
And I'm sure you don't just run to the hardware store and get a couple to put it together either.
No, you need a 1.5 millimeter socket to put them together, or socket cap screw.
Wow.
It's pretty neat. Pretty neat piece.
That is cool.
Okay.
Robert, the pool is at Dave Grieg's shop, Susquehanna Truck Service, the next place after Buck Motorsports Park on the same side of the road.
Yep.
Heading north towards Lancaster, very next property.
4 p.m.
Yeah. We're usually in the old building around back. That's where we normally pull.
That's good to know. I'm sure there'll be signs out along the road and the whole way through the park. Just kidding.
You'll get on the Buck and borrow the marquee for the day. I'm sure he'll let us do it. Oh, sorry.
That's
okay. Is that out loud?
That's okay. That's allowed here.
Probably not.
But what else you guys want to know?
Yeah.
And there's lots. There's lots.
I have a question for you. You were talking earlier about running up to 50% nitromethane. Do you adjust the level of nitromethane? Is that help with your power ratio, more power, less power, or how do you regulate that?
Well, it'd be more power with the higher percentage of nitro, the more power.
Okay.
See, nitromethane is an oxygen carrier, so yeah, the more you get in there, the more you can burn.
Mm-hmm.
So the more power you get.
And the more methanol helps keep it cool.
Yep.
And then you've got a certain content of oil as well.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to watch the oil content. Some of those out there don't have much oil in them.
So most of us are running a boat fuel, which has got usually 18 to 20%. So they slobber a little bit, but but you keep your motor alive.
Mm-hmm.
Cost wise, I know this is probably 1,000-mile wide answer.
Nobody's going to answer this because they don't want to admit it.
Well, let's look at it this way. First, let's say, okay, a new guy, Dwayne, comes in, and he wants to scratch build. Where does he go? The popular chassis person to make it. I know you can build it yourself. I know Scott's done it, but obviously it looks like Jay is the guy to go to here.
one of them. I mean, we have Brad Romer down in south of us here. I mean, west or east of Ed. Albert Lee, Minnesota. Brad, he's a good builder. I build some stuff from time to time. I mean, you're looking at what do you want? Where do you want to start?
Let's build a semi. Let's go for
build a semi. You're looking at probably, with the time and effort into it, you're probably looking at $1,300.
Yeah, I got 16 in that blue one.
Okay. And that's we'll say turnkey, ready.
That's basically turnkey. I mean, that's
what's the most expensive?
Then you got to buy your battery, your power box, your fuel.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's another part of it. You don't. It's more than
all
just
the
the
accessories that go with it.
Starter, your battery pack, and fuel, and something to put it all in.
Denatured alcohol to clean the tires.
Yeah. So, what's the most expensive part of the pulling vehicle? Is it the engine? Is it the chassis? Is it what one item? I guess would be the most.
Well, on a semi, you're looking at the motor. You're probably looking close to over $300 by the time you're said and done with clutch, the motor itself, the clutch, flywheel, clutch bell, all that set up. You're looking over $300 right there alone.
You got 150 in the motor, you got another 50 in the clutch assembly, and then I have another 100 or so in modifications on it. So you're 350, 400, not out of the question.
Mhm.
And the rest of the stuff is hand built. You know, I mean, it's a lot of it's time.
Mhm.
So,
you halfway done, and finally it don't work, you got to throw it away and start over.
well, I would say that
Or you
this.
sell it. Anybody want to buy one?
So this pro stock pulling here is definitely a little bit
The
cheaper.
weather
Like
has finally set in here, I believe.
if you want to go for a top of the line pro stock tractor, you're looking at what, $1 million nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So this is a pretty good deal.
not quite that much, but it's
Well,
it can get
It is.
The nice thing about it is it's for travel too. You can take it and put three guys in a pickup with a topper on it and travel comfortably with all your equipment.
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't have to worry about towing a trailer or anything unless you're really into it. You need an
Yeah.
enclosed trailer.
Yeah.
We have those guys in RC racing. I got a car and a Husky tote from Home Depot with a couple wheels on it. You guys show up with a 7x12 enclosed trailer, spare
Oh, wow.
everything, generators. It's like, what the hell is this? That's the Motorama guys. You know,
Wow.
I got a spare spark plug. They got a spare car.
Wow.
It's in every sport.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It is freaking pouring rain here. Big time.
Yeah,
we need the rain.
I was looking at the radar.
Oh yeah.
Can't see it. It goes.
It's a virtual
away.
background thing. It
Yeah,
I can disappear. If I
Looks
move just right, I'll disappear.
Maryland and
That's not doing it.
Baltimore are getting hammered right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is our first measurable rain in like 40 days, though. So we've
Yeah.
had, you
Quite
know,
a while.
it's been
Quite a while.
something else. End of September till now since it's rained.
Absolutely. Ray Heindel, you're awful quiet. You used to be the person that would speak up about anything and everything, and when it comes to micro mini pulling.
He's just taking it easy.
He's having a hard time hearing, and I think that kind of is.
That comes with age, right? So
Turn them hearing aids.
Yeah, that too.
that's cool. That'd be good to see you guys out pulling this Saturday. It'd be a lot of fun.
What are you doing, Shorty?
Good deal. Dwayne can come and he can manage the track. He can wipe her down after every pass.
Yep.
We'll keep him busy.
The most fun you can have being aggravated.
I'll be right back.
Something that I'd thought about earlier with the track being 24 feet long, it normally has a seam in it. Is it pretty easy to have a fairly flat transition, or do they?
Oh yeah.
You don't really think
It's very minimal.
It's pretty easy to get a nice transition.
so. It doesn't. You don't think about it. Yep.
And it all pulls the same for everybody. It's like big tractor pulling. You know, the track is the track.
Yep. Same track for everyone. That's cool.
The big tractor pullers will take a stick down through there and probe the track to see where the hard spots are. We'll take our fingers and drag it across the track and see where the smooth spot is at the seams.
There you go.
Yep.
There's a method to the madness.
There's a method to the madness.
Ed gets mad when I dig my ice pick out and jam it into his track, looking for the soft spots.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You'll be looking for your soft spot.
Does that mean the plywood starts rotting through, and then the next thing you know, you got to use an ice pick to probe it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. How thick is a urethane?
So whose track are you using Saturday, Scott?
We're using Richard's track, the one he got from Ricky.
Carl. No, well, it
that
came
Carl?
from Ricky, but Carl had it.
Yeah, but it's
That's
a
died, yeah.
oak track. Set of metal legs on it.
Ray still has his, I'm sure.
Yep.
I have mine too, but I haven't. Mine still uses the sawhorses. That's a bit of a pain in the butt to set up and tear down. I got to figure out a set of legs for it and another extension for it.
So do you level your track, or it doesn't really matter? You just set it up
Yes.
and everybody pulls, or you try to
Yeah.
keep it fairly level?
Yeah, we got leveling
level.
jacks on
Well,
them. We get them pretty
You,
decent.
you
pretty
about need it
dialed in.
level. You about need it level side to side when you start stacking that kind of weight on the sled. You don't want it tilted and in favoring one side.
I got you.
So-
It'll pull the sled off to the side then.
Yes.
It could.
Mhm.
There's enough strength that has to be in your hand holding the guide all with that traction it's getting and pulling that weight that it's pushing you side to side. That you don't need that added weight trying to go off the side of the track too.
I understand.
Cool deal. It's a unique sport.
Yes.
Definitely, if you've never seen it, you definitely want to go watch it. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And bring earplugs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Headphones, anything? No.
I already got them. They're right here.
Yep.
Actually, I have
It's
my
a little noisy indoors.
Loud and violent.
A little stinky too. Unless you got good ventilation.
So does the nitromethane get nasty like it does on top fuel dragsters?
Mm-hmm.
Burns
Yeah.
your eyes and
Can.
Yeah,
Can.
it can. And it'll amp you up. It'll
Well,
amp you up a
remember.
little bit.
Smells
I
good.
remember.
Get
Yeah,
your
there you
eyes
go.
out. I like it.
You're immune to it. I had to duck out the door a couple times. Last time, I guess I was up there for Richard's Pool in New Freedom in his shop.
Right.
We got a little. I had to go out and get some oxygen. Rest of them were in there, just like, what's wrong with him? I'm so immune to it.
Rookies.
Yeah, rookies. It's his first time.
Virgin.
yeah.
Indoors. Well, I don't know. East Coast Challenge was all indoor too. That was.
Yeah, we were in the barn down at Easton.
Yep.
Then we was in and outdoors at Richards. Then we were
Yep.
outdoors for a race pull up at Williams Grove.
Right.
It was a little of both.
Sure.
We're on
Yeah, I
the 10.
was
But anyway,
a couple years ago. I was at Maple Grove for the big race there, and got to experience nitromethane exhaust out of them top fuel dragsters for the first time
oh yeah.
in the pits when they fire them up. Holy smokes! I didn't know you had to walk a half a mile to get out of that. I thought I was going to die by the time I got away from it.
It sucks
rough.
up a lot of oxygen too
Oof,
when they
it
punch
was
them.
it was a rough experience, especially when you got a front row seat to watching them fire the thing up.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Well, looking at this crew here overall, who has the most? And this is a wide open question. Wins. It doesn't have to be specifically a tractor or truck. Let's combine it all over the years. How many
Most
wins do you think
wins?
you've had? Well, let's just go to each one. Let's start with Richard and Scott. How many wins do you think you have?
Yeah, 20 or 30, but a lot of times it's just the two of us pulling, so it doesn't really count.
Yes, it does. You still winner. You're first or second.
You
so
mean overall, like over all the years that we've been pulling?
just a rough guess?
Is that what you're talking? Is that what you're? I'm
Yeah.
not sure of the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall,
Yeah.
over all the years you've been pulling, how many wins have you had?
Oh gosh, I've got a lot of trophies. I have probably 40 trophies.
I've never had a big win.
I probably have at least 40 plaques, trophies, stuff like that. At least, so.
It's your chance to brag. So brag it up, man. I can tell you how many I've won. I can
You
tell
were
you I've been
disqual-
disqualified once. Proud of that. And it was a D21, damn it.
It's a 3 pound, 1 ounce.
Damn-
Get you every
Damn
time.
orange tractors.
It was it called the Persuader?
No, I don't remember what Chris called it. But
You have a lot of
you-
wins.
and I
Dave.
can't say on here what I called it that day. It's all good. How about Todd?
Yeah, I had to think about that. So I've been pulling for 20 years. I would guess probably in the 20 years I've got 30, maybe 30 wins, 40. And that might be give or take 20.
You guys are being too modest. How about Ed?
It's a pretty tough group. And just like like we said, I mean,
Yeah,
you
yes.
can pull one day, you can pull one day and win. The next day, you think you got it set just right, and the next day, you're the bottom of the class.
Yep.
That's right.
Just
That's
about
right.
it.
That pull I went to Belvedere with Richard and Scott.
Yeah, that was
Holy
Super
moly,
Bowl
there's a lot- there was a
2003, I
whole-
think.
Yeah, that was a lot of pullers there. I'm like, holy cow, man. There's a lot of pullers there. How about you, Ed?
Well, a lot. I tell you what, if you look at the wall at my other shop over there, in my my shed with the trophies and plaques and awards and that, it's a lot. I can't put a number on it. I haven't got
Okay.
a clue. Like I said, I've been pulling for just about, well, if you leave out them 3 years there, so for 43 years I've been pulling.
Right.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I've
That's
I've
good.
always come in first here, at least a couple of times a year. So
Yeah, I think Jay's
One
said
day-
it best a few times. He says, "How is that?" Or maybe somebody else has a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
yep,
That's Mark.
Yep.
That's Mark Danielson's.
well,
It's Mark Danielson's. Okay.
Mark Danielson says that all the time.
yeah.
Yeah. You always say,
Remember when?
I'd rather beat you on the track than in the pits.
Yep.
So we all help each other out.
Oh,
And Jim Adams, his saying is, we all have. You can pull 2 per class, and a lot of people have 2. Because, but all you need is one good one.
Yep.
How
But
about
like
Jay?
you said, what pulls good one day, the other one will beat it the next day.
Sure.
Yeah, so. pretty
Oh
weird.
God, I'd say probably maybe 40 or 50
Wins?
wins. I don't know. It's been
Oh, you got
I
more than
lost
that.
count.
40, 50, maybe times 10.
No, I'm not Jim Adams.
Yeah, that is a different story there.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go to Ray. I know Ray. I remember watching Ray win quite a bit. So I know he's been kind of laying low the last few years, but
Yeah, I've been a little busy. I'd say probably about the same as Richard said. We pretty much ran about the same over the years. I couldn't even
Yeah.
tell you how many I have laying around. Probably 30, 40, like he said. Plaques, trophies.
any national championship wins in the group here?
No.
Not me.
I think second was the closest.
Two-wheel drive truck I did one year.
Yeah.
A co-won. Sorry, a co-won. Gary Job and I tied for national points winner in two-wheel drive one year.
Okay. Good deal.
No national points for me, but I've got 3 Super Bowl wins in 3 different classes.
That's great. Yeah, that counted too, guys. Yeah, I should emphasize that too. Yeah. Super Bowl wins.
Yep.
Who do you
And
think
one- and
overall?
That's the one that counts to me is the Super Bowl win.
Super Bowl. Oh yeah, just that one I went to. If you beat that amount of competition, I mean, them guys, shit's serious, man.
Yeah, I mean you can go to every you can place 3rd, 4th, or 5th in every class and go to every poll and be a national points winner, or you can go to 5 polls and get into the Super Bowl and be the winner there.
If you were to name one person across the United States, not so much call it your favorite puller, but who do you think has had the most success?
1, 2,
As a poll.
3.
Jim
Dave
Adams.
Joe.
Jim Adams.
Jodry.
Jim Adams.
I'll say
Jodry's the
Jodry.
first name that comes to my mind.
Yeah, Dave Jodry
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
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 Dave's been tough.
Yes. So put it this way: Dave Jodry in the East, Jim Adams in the West.
Yep.
That works.
Fair enough. I'm not familiar with the Adams guy, but of course I've seen Jodry pull here in the East too.
Yeah.
It's always tough. Then there was Nemesis pullers. We won't get into that, will we, Ray?
No.
Whatever happened to the Pie Man? We still have the Pie Man pullers around anymore?
No, he retired.
He retired along with
okay.
Jodry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going back.
We used to have a ball with that stuff. Fresh baked pie.
That's me aggravating Butchie.
Yeah. Always a good time. Well, we're at an hour and 45 minutes. I mean, there's 1,000 other questions. I didn't write any down, but I think you guys gave us the gist on the sport. It's long going, long standing. It looks like it's still got a promising future, especially with the electric stuff coming out. So when it's all
Well, we're
dialed
not
in.
going to try to push the electrics too hard because
Right.
we got one guy that he's dead set against it. Nope, he didn't want nothing to do with it. Little Jimmy Adams. He
Mhm.
he told us here at the last one. Nope, ain't got nothing to do with it. Nope, ain't gonna. Nope. Okay.
I can understand
Yeah.
that. I feel the same way about electric cars, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I,
but when I travel, I go more than 500 miles in one day too. So
That's right,
it.
right.
That's it.
that's another dislike about electric stuff is the range.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm sure one day they'll fix that too. So, but
Yeah.
you know, in the future here, you guys have a big event or something, and you want to do a show. Say like you do go to a Super Bowl, and you want to bring some information back and just do a little brief recap on it or something. Get a hold of Scott. Scott can get a hold of me or whatever.
Okay.
And we can just do a show. You guys could talk about it and do results, brag if you won a championship, or brag if you won a Super Bowl win. Or,
Yeah. Do the week after AMP, maybe.
you can do that. When's that
Mhm.
again?
Don't want it in March. Into March.
March
That's
21 and 22.
So maybe a week or two after that, we could come on, recap it.
Yeah, get it all put together, and
Hmm.
we'll do a Wednesday night show again and go over it. That'd be cool. Somebody's got a camera and take some pictures. We'll gladly show them. Sounds like a plan. And for
Yeah.
goodness sakes, get Ray out there pulling again. Make Ray smile
Yeah.
again. Come on.
He's coming. He's coming.
Is he going this year? No. He ain't gonna travel this year.
No, I can't travel. I'm stuck at home.
You're stuck at home. Uh-oh. I
My
know the feeling.
mother is bedridden, so I don't get nowhere.
yeah.
Busy
Totally
taking care of her.
understand.
Yeah.
This show tonight almost didn't happen for me, so I understand.
Yeah. Prayers to your mother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
For
It's
sure.
never easy. It's never easy.
Yeah.
But anyway, we will hopefully see you Saturday. Hopefully. Right?
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Cool. That's gonna be awesome. Dwayne, you've got to try to definitely make that happen.
Yeah, I think I try to bring
You
the
enjoy
kids
it.
over there and expose the kids to some of this other stuff just to yeah.
They'll like
I'm
it.
sure.
To know what you're going to sign up for and join into the festivities and fun with. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of thinking, I'm sure Scott, somebody would gladly put him in front of a vehicle after the show
Yeah.
and do an exhibition run.
Yeah, he had
Dwayne,
There
can
you go.
he had
Absolutely.
Dave
It's fun.
Greek pulled Scott's truck the last time. That was a good time for Dave.
Mhm.
I missed that last year. Doggone it.
Yeah.
And that's just, Scott, you got to remind me. You got to remind me 1,000 times because I will forget in a heartbeat. It was a bad year last year anyway. I spent more time in the hospital than out, so not
Yeah.
for me, for my dad. But anyway, we won't run any longer. We're starting to push 2 hours here. So
Can I plug something one last
Sure.
time? National. Their website is National Micro Mini Tractor Pullers Association, NMMTPA pullers.com, and there's a rule book and membership enrollment and all kinds of stuff on there. And I'm sure that if anybody is listening and is interested in it, there's a lot more information online. And if not, if you know anybody on here, contact them.
Yep.
actually, you can go over in the
You can click up at the top right on
Wow.
the Facebook icon and take
Ooh,
you to the
that rattled the
Facebook
whole
page
place.
too.
yeah. Just put it over in the comments. Just put that. You put the links over in the
Yep.
comments. We'll do that now or after the show or something. But yeah, just do that. We'll plan for that in March, Scott. Why not?
All righty.
We'll get a
Well, that's
championship.
cool. Well, it's been a pleasure meeting everybody on here.
Well, thank
Okay,
you
Rob.
everybody for the time.
Yep.
Yeah,
Robert
thank you
joined
very
the group.
much.
That's good.
What did you join, Robert? What group did you join? NMMTPA? We might have got you a new member.
Yeah.
Robert says I joined the group, so it might have been here or yours. I don't know.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe
Either or.
maybe the Facebook page too. You can click on the
Maybe you
Facebook
joined the-
icon
Oh,
and go
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
United States Full-Time RV Association or something, Todd.
There you go.
I am jealous, man. I am
Yeah.
jealous. Okay, you joined the Facebook group. Cool deal.
There
Thank
you
you,
go.
Robert. That's awesome. Spread the word. All right, guys. Appreciate you coming in. And Scott, Richard, you can hang loose until I'll play the outro. Then we'll just be backstage where we can talk silly real quick or something. So,
All right.
for the rest of you, we'll be back here next Wednesday, and I better do the recap from the Snyder County banquet, or I might
Mhm.
not have friends anymore. I'm just kidding. But yeah, we're
You
gonna
have
we're gonna
friends?
discuss. Yeah, believe it or not, I used to. I used to, but we'll talk about the. They had a great banquet this past Saturday. And, we'll talk about that next week, 8 p.m. Dwayne, anything else there, buddy?
I think that's all I have for tonight.
That's a rarity. I'm gonna tell everybody it's a rarity.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You can hang tight.
Have a
after
good
the
one.
after stuff will-
He drinks
There you
Coors
go,
Light.
Ed.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong
We're
with
not in the
that.
Remember-
pits, are we?
Yeah, we're not in the pit.
You guys hang tight. Rest of you, we'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Thanks.
Right.
All right, take care.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
man.
See you, everybody.